admitted the election was conducted outside the law. It cannot stand. We are not interested in which of them. NINAS says, let us leave matter of election alone, because the winner will have to swear to and govern by the constitution that creates all the problem. That's NINA's position. That is still NINA's position. The reason I'm explaining all this about what happened with the election, we have no preference at all for any of the candidates, because any one of them who is declared winner, to the extent that he will have to govern by that constitution, our conditions can only get worse. Our sovereignty will still be detained. Our economic assets will remain in their hands. The guns in the land will remain in their hands. We will still be in the formation of 36 states that give them 72% control of everything. We will still be in 7 and 4 local government areas that give them much more than all of us put together, in a situation where they bring nothing to the coffers. We still remain in a situation where they determine when our roads will be done, or when our electricity will function, or who will govern us. We saw what happened in Imo, that the man who came forth in an election was by the brigandage of the overwhelming center imposed on Imo people. Look at what has happened in the place today. Look at what is going on in Benue. And so that constitution that creates those conditions, cannot remain the basis of union. And let us be reminded that in the constitutional force majeure of December 16, 2020, NINAS did indicate that we will do all of what we have set out to do to get Nigeria and Nigerians to listen, for us to leave the matter of election and go and sort out the terms of our union that have been truncated by brigandage of a few, of a section. But that if after all of that, we cannot find common ground, if after all of that there are people who believe they can prevail by force, then we will have to reconsider our allegiance and limited toleration of that constitution, which we are doing just for the sake of peace, to avoid anarchy. And so we have arrived at that bus stop where that unilateral action will have to be activated. We do not want innocent people to become victims of the situation. And that's why we are getting into this town hall. This will not be the last town hall. We're going to have a series of town halls in the days ahead, dealing with segments of interest. We're going to be summoning the political parties to come to listen. We're going to be summoning the church leaders who refuse to listen, who are mobilizing people to go and get PVC in a battle that required AK-47. We're going to be having sessions with the young people who are leading that PVC revolution after the failure of the NSAS revolution. We're going to be talking to our people in the diaspora who are busy, supporting all kinds of nasty things that cause a lot of blood here. The ones who are shouting Yoruba nation, the other ones who are shouting Biafra nation, but who are not interested in dismantling the constitution that locked them down into the Union of Death. And so we're going to have all these segments in town halls across the next few days, such that by the close of April, we will have satisfied ourselves that we have informed our people of what is going on. And then, depending on how things develop, if anybody goes ahead to defy the Constitution by going ahead to, carry through what they've started, of course, we will then tell them that we will all have to defy that Constitution. The sovereignty belongs to us. The truth is that we never met, we never agreed to submit our sovereignty, contrary to what the Constitution claims, the 99 Constitution in its preamble. All of those who are talking about good governance under this Constitution, I can tell you authoritatively that it is impossible. All of those who are talking about new Nigeria, I can tell you authoritatively that no new Nigeria can be built on a constitution of master and servant, worse than apartheid. It is a product of ignorance. It is a product of dishonesty for anybody to say that there's a new Nigeria that will come because there's a change in leadership. The candidate Peter Obi in 2021, we heard him when he said that the engine of the Nigerian state is knocked. Where did he find the engine to be loading the stranded passengers that go by the name Obedient Movement? Where is he taking to? With a vehicle without engine, in a vehicle without engine. For a people that are running from death, the Fulani is coming from Mauritania, Fulani is coming from Chad, Fulani is coming from Senegal, everywhere. They're already here to share the land, to kill off the owners. Our young people are all over the world running away from Nigeria. What is chasing them from Nigeria? What is chasing them from Nigeria? Why can't we focus on that thing that is chasing them from Nigeria and deal with it before we carry on with the question of who will replace who is in government house? Those who are talking about taking back Nigeria, the Nigeria we need to take back is that Nigeria confiscated by this constitution. The Nigeria we need to take back is not PDP to replace APC or Labour Party to replace PDP. It is for us to take down that constitution so that our sovereignty can come back to the table and then we work out how we live together. Nobody will be in one political union with those who owe it a duty of faith to kill others. That is what Sharia mandates. So no matter how much your sentiment is, those who subscribe to Sharia have seceded from our secular union. Don't deceive yourself about that. Even if you resolve all the other problems, they will owe it a duty of faith, a duty to their God to kill you, the infidel. Go and look at that NINAS map again. The section of it covering 12 states, of course, minus Southern Kaduna and other southern territories, Chibok and all the other places in those 12 states that are Christian communities. That map is the map of what has happened to our union. They have seceded from the secular union we're trying to build. Even by their 40 Constitution and Section 10, what they have done is expressly forbidden. Anybody who does that has left your union. And now they have regrouped to come to conquer you. So they want to remain in charge by virtue of conquest. Those who do not understand what the Fulani herdsmen are doing, they are coming upon you to conquer you. Because the title deed, the document by which they can come to your space now, the document by which they can own your ports and own your oil and gas and own your bitumen and limestone is that constitution. We have defeated it by what we have done across the last 24 years. They know they've been defeated. They know you do not know. And so they lure you to come to election that will reinforce the life of that constitution. And the regional renegades who work with them, the regional renegades from the south and middle belt, who now stand with that constitution to go to election, are aiding them to reinforce their stranglehold on all of us. We are not going to take it easy because we are talking about the lives of millions of people. We're not talking about 5 and 10. We're talking about the lives of at least 150 million people now being endangered by a few political gladiators, a few political gamblers, a few political merchants presenting themselves as PDP and APC and Labour Party. All of them subscribe to that constitution. That is the issue NINAS has with everybody. All of those who subscribe to that constitution are working for the enemy that is here to kill us. And they're not making any pretenses about their intentions. And so, what do? The election has come and gone. The one that won the election is nowhere near getting to government house. The one they declared winner is deficient. They know that if they carry on with him, the whole thing will collapse on their head. And so, shall we wait for when we get back to where we got to in 1966? Because we are right at where we were in 1964 at this time. Disputed constitution, election that is loaded on it, commotion that follows. Where will it end? Either everybody loses control, or some charlatans will come and say, oh, we have come to save you. wearing some kind of uniform. Under this constitution, all the institutions belong to those who are holding us against our wish at gunpoint. I'm sure some of us saw the video, the interview, the Kuka's 70th birthday, colloquium, where Professor Anthony Akiwale, a Catholic priest, and the erstwhile Vice Chancellor of the Dominican University in Ibadan, where he captured what we are in. He says, we are now a union at gunpoint. What do? He says we have to make a U-turn and go back to becoming a union, because now we have a disputed union. By that constitutional force majeure of 16 December 2020, the whole global community knows that Nigeria is now a disputed project. I'm sure you hear about those who were canceling loans they were already offering. And these are people who are taking, the Buhari and his kinsmen are going about taking loans in our names from all kinds of illicit places in billions of dollars, because they can't get loans from the people who used to give them loans, because we raised that union dispute. For those who do not, they are waiting for people who come to do riots on the street. The constitution that empowered them to govern us, the constitution that turned our lands into their own, into the possession and belonging of the federal government of Nigeria, has been defeated. That illicit federal government operating from the center since 1967, when our federation collapsed, is empowering itself with that constitution to do all of what it's doing. The corruption you think is going to be pushed back by P2B if he becomes president. That constitution mandates the corruption in black and white. If we had more time, I'll take you through the sections. Section 6, subsection 6C, absolves government of responsibility towards you. The whole of chapter 2 lists all the good things of life that government should be doing for you, particularly your welfare, your security. It says that's the primary duty of government. It says all of us have to be treated equally. It says we have equal opportunities. It promises us education and healthcare and housing. Every good thing you can imagine is in chapter 2 of the 1999 Constitution. But section 6, subsection 6C, nullifies that chapter 2, because it says it is at the discretion of those in government has to do or not to do, meaning that they do not owe you any legal obligation to do any of those things. And so, if they do not secure you in terms of Fulani invading you from everywhere, killing you, and they do not come to your aid, you have no recourse against them. If they do not provide education and healthcare and housing and all the things they say they will do, or treat you equally with the quota system they impose, you do not have any legal recourse against them. They don't owe you any explanation for treating you like the slave you are under that constitution. And so, that is what is there in black and white. Anybody who is telling you that the government owes you any obligation, tell them that NINAS say they are lying. In terms of the corruption we hear, that constitution creates massive avenues for corruption and protects comprehensively those who are the beneficiaries of corruption. What do we mean? Section 81 and 82 of that constitution settles the question of how monies are to be taken from the treasury by the president. Section 81 says the president must go to obtain permission from the National Assembly in order to spend money from the treasury. That is the one you call appropriation. Section 82 says that while they are debating, the president is at liberty to run government, spending money subject to limit of what was approved the year before. What does the president do? Because of that provision, they put money in Ghana must go to give to the National Assembly at the time of making budget. So if they know that they're going to get 100 billion for education, for instance, they're going to have maximum of 100 billion available for education. They're going to put 300 billion in the budget so that it becomes benchmark for taking as much as 150 billion. That's half of what was approved the year before. That's the reason you hear about jumbo budgets. That's the reason you hear about Ghana must go every time of appropriation. appropriation. And the way it works is that having secured those figures into the budget, the president does not need to talk to anybody to take all the monies in the treasury. The same provisions are in place for governors in sections 121, 122. And so they put the figures they deem fit, and then they take everything in the treasury. Section 308 gives them immunity, blanket immunity. You cannot question them for what they do all through the time they're in office. So if they do not owe you any obligation, and they have the spare key to the treasury, and they have immunity, at what point are you going to get the dividends of democracy? And who told you you have democracy? Has the definition of democracy changed for Nigeria? The democracy I know is the one that says it's government of the people, by the people, for the people. What it means is not a fancy thing. Government of the people means that the people set the supreme rules. That is the constitution. That's the foundation upon which everything else stands. By the people means it's only by your vote that they get to be in power. For the people means that those who are within power are doing so at your service and for your benefit. Does Nigeria's democracy pass any of these three legs of test? The answer is capital no and no and no. Because we did not make the constitution. Those who get to power do not rely on our votes, like we have seen yet another one time from the last election. It was so in 2019. It was so in 2015 when Jeka told us that Jonathan did not lose the election. The man who conducted the election confessed that Jonathan did not lose the election. Yar'Adua before that time said that the election that brought it was flawed. You go all the way back to Shagari and to Dot, to Dot. You go all the way back to 1964 that collapsed the First Republic. You go all the way to 1960, the 1959 election that saw Awolowo going to prison. So we have never made any constitution. We have never been governed by those we voted for, and they've never been there for our own benefit. We do not have any democracy. Anybody who tells you they are building democracy on this kind of a foundation of fraud, a foundation of master and servant, was an apartheid. Because in apartheid South Africa, the poor were at least developing their society. It was a society of rule of law, just that the blacks were excluded. This is no rule of law can be built on this. We will now begin to challenge all of those who are talking trash on national TV, starting with characters like Professor Patu Tomi, that was saying that it is leadership. What can the righteous do in the face of this kind of in this kind of damaged foundation? Those who have been going to government house since 1999, their lives have been climbing high. You see how much they make. And poverty has been grinding the people that vote every 4 years for them. Why is this so? Why can't we use our education to question these things? And what is Nigeria? Nigeria is supposed to be an aggregation of our sovereignties. The British put us together. The British have gone away. Let us sit down and discuss how to live together. Somebody at gunpoint imposed a constitution that was victory charter from the war they imposed on us in 1967. And that becomes the constitution I must obey. It fractures us into 36 states in which they control a majority. They've reduced us to an imaginary economy. You saw the nonsense they are talking about $800 million that they will share. So we have become an imaginary country. The reason you don't have petroleum products, the reason they are talking about subsidy is that refineries are on that exclusive list. There's nothing that will bring petroleum products unless that constitution goes down, no matter how you try to do it. Because it is only the federal government that can process crude oil into petroleum for you. They've destroyed the four refineries, and they've taken us to a regime of importing petrol. They sell 3 million barrels of crude oil just to anybody, and then they buy back finished products. The employment that was supposed to be generated is not here. As long as that situation remains, we are going to have to buy with our naira whatever it exchanges. That's what is putting the biggest pressure on the naira that is now destroying the rest of the economy. And somebody is boasting that I will remove petroleum subsidy. What is a subsidy? Subsidy 6 months. Those who have the capacity to build refineries will build. It doesn't have to be the gigantic mess that Dangote have been trying to float. You take my asset and hand over to one of your people, and you expect me to be clapping. You took $2 billion from the treasury to give to one of your own, having confiscated the asset by which he will be doing all of what he's doing. Half of the port belongs to him. The port in Port Harcourt, they call oil and gas free trade zone, whatever, belongs to Articles Inter. The bitumen in Ondo allotted. The limestone of Benue allotted to Dangote to be Africa's richest man, whereas Benue people will perish in poverty. The oil and gas that will be processed, taken from the job and allotted to Mederibe and all of them who own oil blocks. What is the value of your education? If you do not care to know, if you don't use that education to liberate yourself, these are things that are being done in your name, under your signature. The preamble to that constitution that says, we the people have solemnly resolved to live together in one political union, and therefore making this constitution. If after 24 years of shouting from the rooftops to wake up those who are living in that bondage, who are going to be slaughtered by those who want to take that land forever from them, if after 24 years you are not listening, then perhaps you deserve to die. Then perhaps you deserve no land at all. Those who know the meaning of land are the ones who are pointing guns at you in your communities. If you do not stand up to bring down that constitution, the same way the apartheid constitution was taken down in South Africa, the kind of thing we're doing now was what Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Winnie Mandela, Governor Mbeki, and the rest of them did for 80 years before they succeeded. In 20 years, we have come to where what is left to be done can be done in a matter of weeks. But those who are in that danger are not listening. They are busy just discussing ignorantly. And some of them are dishonest. The ones who say, oh, we want Biafra. Okay, Tony. The time of ignorance has passed. Let those who can reach Simon Eber and the bunch of lunatics he has gathered around himself to say they are government in exile. The time of ignorance has passed. Any one of them who comes to this place, any one of them who steps into this place will face summary execution, because what they are doing is known to them to be a scam. People are being killed in Aba and Onitsha because of what they are doing. And Tony. No, let me land on this. Let me land on this because they have just started, and some of our people are going to distract other people further. The blood of those who have been killed in that scam of restoration of Biafra is not any lighter than their blood is not thicker than those people's blood. That scam must end. In the time of Nnamdi Kanu, we took it as a period of ignorance. We therefore just ignored them to be boxing and running around with the so-called federal government. But on this occasion, anybody who will resume anything that will cause anybody to be killed any further, like they're trying to do, will face summary execution from those who are struggling to defeat the monster that is holding that territory. As it is for them, so it is with those doing same in that any part of the alliance territory. Let us face this monster, take it down, return the land to everybody, so can go to another meeting. Going forward, so I can land, let us just put aside all of what we are thinking before, examine the proposition we have on the table for how we can recover our lives from people who are here to take it. It will not be more than a few weeks from the time we do that to when that constitution will crash. The crash of that constitution is the freedom from this bondage, is the freedom from the killings that are happening already, because immediately that constitution goes down, the guns you do not have to defend yourself will be in your hands. The economic assets that have been taken from you will be back in your hands. The international imperatives around driving it through is already secure. Everything else is in our hands to do. Let's listen to ourselves and take the steps that are within our reach to take. I stop here.